10 insane celebrity homes. Number 10. Kim Ye. Best known by their one-name moniker, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are one of the most famous celebrity couples on the planet. Is it any surprise that they live in a home that most of us could only dream of spending even one night in? Though the couple has been in the news for negative reasons as of late, Kim being robbed and Kanye for having some supposed mental breakdown, at least they have a palace in which to spend their idle time. The couple purchased this massive Hidden Hills abode for $20 million, but weren't entirely satisfied with it, so they renovated the place. Now the 5-acre property, or tiny town, reportedly includes a 2-story playroom in case a 1-story room fully devoted to children wasn't enough, a full-size movie theater, a gym, and a basketball court. No rap mogul's house is complete without a sound studio, and of course, Kim had to have a full spa on site, so those were built as well. They even bought their neighbor's property to make room for all of the additions they wanted. North and St. West are either the most fortunate or the most soulless children on the planet. Number 9. Donald Trump. Trump and his wife Melania may not be staying at their $100 million 66th floor penthouse in Trump Tower, New York, as much now as they will be taking up residence at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for the next 4 years. While the White House is lovely, Trump has plenty of reasons to not want to move out of his Big Apple residence. The ridiculous apartment is 3 stories whose walls, floors, and columns are covered in marble. The platters, vases, and furniture are accented with gold. Greek statues and art dominate the interior, as well as flattening, grandiose portraits of Trump and his family. Residing so high up means that the penthouse is witness to an amazing view of the city, specifically Central Park and the Manhattan skyline. Hopefully, the president won't be thinking too much about his lavish digs while he's busy with his new job. Number 8. Sinatra's Paradise. In a nod to his character in the movie From Here to Eternity, Sinatra named this property in Palm Desert, California, Via Maggio. The property is 7.5 acres and features 3 buildings that have a combined total of 8 bedrooms, 3 kitchens, 9 fireplaces, and 12.5 bathrooms. The property also includes a lighted tennis court and a helipad. Sinatra commissioned the property in the 1960s as a place to get away from the hustle and bustle of being a celebrity. Sitting over 4,000 feet above the Coachella Valley, Old Blue Eyes picked a good spot to suit his needs. The entertainers passed away in 1998, and the second owners currently have the house for sale at a price of just under $4 million. Number 7. Lil Wayne. Weezy has been trying to sell his Miami Beach property for 2 years now without success. He lowered the price over the course of 2016 from $18 million to $12 million. Celebrities often find it difficult to sell their homes, especially if they have made modifications to suit their specific tastes. The rapper's house is 15,101 square feet, has 9 bedrooms and bathrooms, a professional recording studio, movie theater, and a rooftop skate park. The beautiful open interior home sits on the water in Miami Beach. In August of 2016, a prankster called the cops saying that someone had been shot and was bleeding at the home. Police arrived to find Lil Wayne asleep, and after finding nothing in the home, left without further incident. It was the second time such an incident has happened since Wayne purchased the house, and could be why he seems so desperate to sell the place. Number 6. Ashton and Mila. The couple made famous by co-starring in That 70s Show has enjoyed the fruits of their labor. With a daughter on the way, the couple purchased this $10 million home on April 1st, 2014 that is stupider than Kutcher's That 70s Show character. The house is on a private street in a gated community in Beverly Hills that is well away from paparazzi. The home is 7,300 square feet and has 3 huge bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Admittedly, its dimensions are slightly dwarfed by the other insane pads on this list, but when's the last time you saw either of these people in a good movie? Number 5. Enya. When you look at the fact that Enya has sold more records than One Direction and calls Bono her neighbor, you would assume that the Irish singer has a pretty insane lifestyle. And you would be right, though not in the ways you might imagine. Despite being world famous, the singer has only been spotted in public a handful of times in the last decade, and apparently men find her dark and challenging. She lives in a small castle in Ireland as a recluse. Apparently, her only constant company is cats, a lot of cats that live on the property. When she moved in the late 90s, Enya had the entire house redone. Her bedroom opens to the Irish Sea, and she has incredible views of the Wicklow Mountains on one side and the Dalkey Islands on the other. Her music and successes are unique and will never happen again. Based off her living situation, she could also be called the world's wealthiest cat lady. Number 4. Howard Stern. $200,000 for hurricane shutters? $10 million on renovations alone? No problem for the most successful radio personality of all time. Stern reportedly spent $52 million to purchase this insane mansion in Palm Beach, Florida in early 2013 and had those refurbishments done in early 2016. The specialty shutters weren't cheap, and so, as you might guess, they are very heavy duty and able to withstand winds and debris impact of up to 276 miles per hour. They are also remote controlled and cover every one of the house's many windows. The home itself is even more remarkable. The mansion boasts 12.5 bathrooms, in case the first 12 are taken, 5 bedrooms, and sprawls over 19,000 feet across the Florida beachfront. Number 3. Dwayne Wade and Gabby Union. Dwayne Wade is a star guard for the Chicago Bulls. Gabrielle Union is a very well-known actress. The couple is, by all accounts, very happy together, and with salaries that could afford them cribs like this, who could blame them? The ecstatic couple got married on August 30th, 2014, and leased this ridiculous castle for the occasion. The house was priced at $10.9 million before it was delisted shortly before the wedding. The property was built by architect Charles Seeger for himself and includes a giant landlocked moat and formal gardens that surround the property. Number 2. Bill Gates. Though the richest man in the world is known as a charitable man who spends his money frugally, he opened his wallet a little bit to build his dream home. The home cost a record-setting $63 million to build and took 7 years to complete. The property lies in the hills of Medina, Washington, and is surrounded by nature. The estate has a variety of garages, including an underground cave that can hold 10 cars, 6 kitchens tended by a 24-hour on-call chef, a 1,500 square foot theater, a 2,100 square foot private library, and a massive aquarium. This home is incredible. But of course, it's not the only property the billionaire owns on the West Coast. He also bought a ranch in California for $18 million that has a private racetrack. Number 1. Mukesh Ambani. Ambani is no celebrity. He's the chairman of Reliance Industries, a gigantic conglomerate holding company in India. But he is a billionaire and had this crazy pad built in South Mumbai that is valued at around $1 billion, making it the most expensive private residential property on the planet. The 27-story property, called Antilia, and its unique design have been a part of the Mumbai skyline since being completed in 2010. The extravagant home's location in a destitute area of Mumbai is extremely controversial. The property has 6 floors of underground parking, 3 helipads, and a total interior space of over 400,000 square feet. The crib also features 9 high-speed elevators, a 2-story health center, and 6 floors for Ambani and his family. An entire floor is dedicated to servicing Ambani's stable of cars.
Thanks and welcome to this week's show. As you know, this week we've been in Christchurch at the RISE 2019 conference. And I thought we'd do this week's show a little bit differently from what we normally do. We're going to have a look at the New Zealand market specifically, as opposed to looking at stories from all around Australia. And I'm joined on this special series by Mike Perro, a man who I've known for quite a long time. Yeah. And Mike, welcome to the show and thanks for your time.
Yeah, good to be here.
Mike is somewhat of an institution in New Zealand. When I was living and working here, so many years ago, Mike, I'm not even going to say how many it was. It sort of gives away our age a bit, but Mike was somewhat of a pioneer with mortgages in those days and has since branched out into mortgages and also real estate brokerage. So Mike, I just thought it would be interesting to have a talk to you because this is one market, the Christchurch market, that has really suffered greatly in the last decade or so.
Well, we set up, just to give you the background, we set up in 2011. We announced that we're going out to the market in 2010. Bad timing for us. We set up the week before the earthquake, so as a real estate office it was bad news in 2011. I thought, oh, what have I got myself into? But I know it was a tragedy for Christchurch, but in no time at all we realised we actually had picked not a bad time. So the industry took off in 2011 in a big way in Christchurch. There was a shortage of homes, values were high and increasing, so it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. So we got hit by that in 2011. Had I had a chance I would have backed out, but I didn't, so we kept going, and sure enough, so we've continued to grow from 2011 to today's date, and we on average open a new office every 47 days somewhere in New Zealand.
The New Zealand market, from my experience, is somewhat different from most other markets in that there is no one market, of course, no matter where you are, but there's a saying about there's nothing happens south of the Bombay Hills, which is just outside of Auckland, but we're seeing the markets of Wellington, particularly Christchurch, becoming real hubs within themselves, aren't we?
Oh, look, New Zealand is like Australia. There's so many differences, and we know the regional differences. You'd see it as New Zealand from Australia, but we have the same pockets that you do within, say, Sydney, Melbourne and so on, and the difference between Perth and Melbourne and so on. So yeah, we have microclimates, Tauranga for example, which is in the upper North Island, south of Auckland or southeast of Auckland. That's got similar values to Auckland. You go down further down and you'll find right in Invercargill at the bottom of New Zealand you can buy, I think the average property value $228,000 down there. Christchurch here today around 460 is the median. Auckland you can probably nearly double that. So there's a range of different prices, but Christchurch is going well at the moment. Auckland's cooling. Values have slipped back a little. Sales have slipped back. Time to sell slipped, or stretched out. And yeah, things are a wee bit quieter, but I wouldn't say it's a crash by any means. It's really just an adjustment.
It's interesting too to think about the areas where there are major disasters, and this is a classic example of that. And it reminds me of what happened in Brisbane with the floods in 1974 and then 11 years ago again. But we're seeing a recovery in that market now 10 or 11 years later, where people thought, well, no one's going to buy a house by the river because it's going to happen again. But just driving around Christchurch, I haven't been here for a few years, but driving around the last couple of days, I can notice new buildings coming out. There's a new sense of there's a newness about the city.
Christchurch, very new. In fact, 90% of the city is being rebuilt. We've got some beautiful architecture, beautiful buildings, and new homes being built. And look, for $500,000, you can buy a brand new 3 to 4 bedroom home, double garage, 2 or 3 bathrooms in a lovely subdivision. So first home buyers, 50 grand down in some cases. Paying it off cheaper than they could rent, or similar. So there's a lot of good opportunities that have come out of it. It's sad, the earthquakes, and they were a horrible time to be here. We were having hundreds of earthquakes a week, but it's all settled down. Lovely place now, and a lot of new stuff. So
the weather's been fantastic for me here.
We turned it on for you guys.
I want to take you in another direction now, and that is in the area of brokerage, mortgage brokers, and so on. In the Australian market, as you know, with the inquiry, there's been a lot of mooted changes, and so how has the New Zealand, because there are similarities between Australia and New Zealand.
Yes, there are. Hey, look, so I think it was probably 2 or 3 months ago the mud hit the fan in Australia, and they said, banks are doing this, insurance and mortgage brokers, it's all got a cut, overseas trips and that. And then New Zealand, within a few days it had spilled over here. I got interviewed at the time on TV here because having been in mortgage broking and then in now in real estate. But look, to me, it's probably a little bit more controlled already in New Zealand. There's, but I still question: has the government or the authorities got a? How can they say you can't reward for performance? And the insurance industry, real estate, and financial services, it's all based around performance rewards, and that's the model. And I actually still question: how can the government legislate you cannot reward someone with a trip to Hawaii or something for performing well? So that was some of the things that have come out of it, but it's gone quiet again. I think it's probably been a bit of a warning for us here in New Zealand. You may have it legislated shortly in Australia, but
it seems that way.
I think what's going to happen in New Zealand, the government will look at it, or the authorities, and say, well, it seems to be. I think we've got a pretty good system here. I don't think agents. It's a tough job. Agents, brokers, insurance agents, and so on. It's a tough job, and you've got to reward well. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And salaries, they just don't work. So you pay for performance, you get what you pay for.
Absolutely. Mike, it's been great talking to you. It's wonderful to catch up with you too. It's been fantastic. And I've really enjoyed being in Christchurch and bringing you these odd stories as we have done. We'll keep a close eye on the Christchurch market, and we just want to extend once again our best wishes to everyone in Christchurch. We're great supporters, and I think the RISE conference has been a wonderful thing, Mike, that it's brought the Australian and New Zealand real estate communities together, and see some wonderful things happening. I mean, they've raised nearly $200,000.
I saw that in the room. I saw the figure as I walked in, and amazing. And it's good to have our Aussie cousins here. And there's another one next year, I believe, same time. So, hey, bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Pereira, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And thanks for we'll shake hands.
Yes, we will.
And thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. We'll be back to normal next week. I think Kieran Clare will be with us, and we'll have a look at the top news stories all around the world. I'm Kevin Turner from Christchurch. We'll see you then.
Billed as the fastest way to cross the surface of the Earth, Hyperloop represents the greatest leap in transport infrastructure for generations. With passengers sitting in pods that travel at airline speed through pressurized tubes, using electric propulsion and magnetic levitation, the concept promises to slash journey times between major cities from several hours to a matter of minutes. Whilst it may feel like science fiction, Hyperloop is now on the cusp of becoming a reality. This is the story behind the concept that's about to revolutionize our world. Hyperloop was first conceived in 2012 by Tesla and SpaceX founder Elon Musk. In a white paper released the following year, Musk set out his vision for a futuristic, super high-speed transportation system that would see passenger pods move through a partial vacuum in steel tubes, addressing the two key factors that slow down conventional vehicles: friction and air resistance. Exploring a potential route between Los Angeles and San Francisco, Musk believed that his concept could slash the 8-hour bus ride, 4-hour train journey, and convoluted 3-hour air travel experience between the two cities to just 30 minutes. Under Musk's first Hyperloop proposal, he suggested that compression fans would move air around the passenger pods to minimize drag and create air bearings beneath them, floating them off the surface of the tubes. It should be noted that Musk's early Hyperloop concept is not a million miles away from Isambard Kingdom Brunel's atmospheric railway that ran between Exeter and Plymouth in the UK from 1847 to 1848. That system moved carriages with pressurised air. The air was extracted from a pipe that ran between the rails by pumping stations situated roughly every 3 miles along the route, creating a vacuum. A piston contained within this pipe was connected to the train, which pulled it forward. Despite its initial success, the leather flaps that made the vacuum pipes airtight soon began to fail, causing air to leak from the system, and Brunel's railway was abandoned. With an estimated price tag close to $6 billion, Musk's first Hyperloop concept never came to fruition. But the impressive idea and potential to link cities in such a direct way sparked intense interest. From inception, Musk had always stated that the concept of Hyperloop would be open source, and he actively encouraged others to come together and develop the necessary technology independently from his involvement. This led to the formation of several startups and student teams developing various aspects of Hyperloop technology with varying degrees of success. Now, several fully fledged companies are making significant strides to bring Hyperloop systems into reality. Hyperloop Transportation Technologies, or HTT, are making aggressive advancements and recently constructed a full-scale test track in France. But the clear leaders of the pack in the current standings are Virgin Hyperloop One. Virgin Hyperloop One are on track to achieve their bold ambition of bringing a Hyperloop system into operation by 2021. Originally formed in 2014 as Hyperloop One, the company was rebranded following a significant investment from Sir Richard Branson in 2017. Deviating slightly from Musk's original plan, Virgin Hyperloop One's technology combines two basic principles. The first is magnetic levitation, or maglev, a technology already used in monorails to lift the passenger pods and move them along their rails. Magnetic levitation uses two sets of magnets, one to repel the train from the track and lift it upwards, and the other to move the floating train along the track at considerable speed with reduced friction. The second principle is the use of a low-pressure, vacuum-sealed environment for the passenger pods to travel through. By removing most of the air from the tubes and having no contact with the ground, the pods face little to no resistance as they move. Air pressures inside the tube are equivalent to flying 200,000 feet above sea level. Such an environment enables the pods to reach speeds of over 760 miles per hour using very little energy. By virtue of being in a tube, the system is protected from the weather and can operate in almost any climatic conditions. Virgin Hyperloop One's system is controlled by advanced software that ensures acceleration and deceleration occur gradually, going relatively unnoticed by those travelling inside. Having built a 500-metre track in the Nevada desert, Virgin Hyperloop One have carried out several tests, focusing on individual aspects of the system, and a complete full-scale systems test in May 2017. The propulsion, braking, levitation and vacuum systems are all performing well, and the team have achieved a top speed of over 240 miles per hour to date. To inform their plans for developing a fully operational network that is affordable for all, Virgin Hyperloop One launched a global challenge to find the routes best placed to benefit from Hyperloop technology. With over 2,600 entries, the field was reduced to just 35 potential locations, with each entry enjoying strong support from governments and urban planners. With 10 winners across 5 countries, Virgin Hyperloop One are now working in partnership with each of the locations on how best to deliver the Hyperloop technologies in live networks. In February 2018, the firm unveiled their first prototype passenger pods for the Dubai to Abu Dhabi route, a network that would drastically slash the car travel time between the two cities from 2 hours to just 12 minutes. The advantages of Hyperloop are considerable. Like train stations, Hyperloop stations, called portals, are planned to be located within inner-city areas with easy links to existing transport infrastructure. This gives Hyperloop systems a distinct advantage over air travel, where airports tend to be located beyond city limits with fewer accessibility options. Additionally, the system is being developed to function on a turn-up-and-go principle, without a lengthy check-in process, and with accelerated, advanced security checks. Another clear benefit is its speed. If Hyperloop could significantly reduce the travel time between cities, it could be possible to live in a completely different city or a part of the country from where you work, with a commute no dissimilar in length to the one you perhaps take today. This opens up a wide range of housing and employment opportunities, with people no longer having to live close to where they work. It could also take pressure off our cities, where infrastructure is often still catching up with development, and where house prices have become unattainable for most. With speeds rivaling aircraft, and 9 of the top 10 busiest air routes in the world being domestic, Hyperloop has the potential to completely revolutionise the way we live, work and travel. A Hyperloop system requires very little energy to propel pods through its tubes, as the vacuum environment poses little resistance. As such, the systems could be powered by renewable technologies such as solar and wind, offering a considerably cleaner alternative to air travel. When you consider the prospect of people being propelled in tubes across the Earth's surface at near supersonic speeds, there are a number of questions that instinctively jump to mind. Perhaps the first is the impact of a potential break or breach in one of the tubes, possibly as the result of an earthquake or external impact. Virgin Hyperloop One explained that they have addressed this by constructing thick steel tubes that are extremely difficult to puncture or break. Additionally, the tubes are engineered to withstand changes in pressure and air leaks while maintaining their structural integrity. Theoretically, a sudden influx of air into one of the tubes would simply slow the pods down due to the increased air resistance. The pods could then be directed to the next portal via an auxiliary power boost. There is also the ability to section off parts of the route and to repressurise sections where significant emergencies occur, and all pods are expected to be fitted with emergency exits. Externally, Hyperloop systems will largely travel on elevated, seismically designed pylons that are able to move and flex independently of one another, minimizing damage in the event of a major ground shift. Sensors along the route would instantly report issues to the system's control center. In answering the natural safety concerns raised, Virgin Hyperloop One also point out that millions of people already travel at high speeds in metal tubes every time they take a flight, and that numerous concerns surrounded the use of jet aircraft when that mode of transportation first came to prevalence. While the idea of Hyperloop may seem far-fetched, when you consider the industrial progress made in the past 200 years, the current rate of technology adoption in our societies, and the significant advances being made by Hyperloop companies around the world, this incredible new transportation system looks set to become part of our everyday lives in the very near future. If you enjoyed this video and would like to get more from the definitive video channel for construction, subscribe to the B1M.